Claire pushed open the glass door of Maple Street Cafe with the kind of tiredness that lived in her bones, the kind that no amount of sleep could ever cure. Being a single mom wasn't just hard, it was a daily test of strength, patience, and quiet sacrifices nobody ever saw. She exhaled into the warm air of the cafe, letting the smell of roasted coffee beans settle around her like a small comfort in a world that rarely offered her any. Her shift at the grocery store started in 20 minutes, and she had just enough time to drink the one luxury she allowed herself, a medium coffee she'd saved coins for. But as she scanned the busy cafe, she realized every table was full. People laughed, worked on laptops, chatted with friends, lived lives that seemed so much lighter than hers. Then she saw him, a well-dressed man with a sleek laptop, crisp shirt, and posture that only wealth or confidence could give. He sat alone at a small table in the corner. Claire hesitated. People like him didn't share tables with people who clipped coupons and counted pennies. Still, she gathered her courage, because she had nowhere else to sit. Approaching carefully, she cleared her throat. "Hi, would you mind if I share this table? It's just really crowded." The man lifted his eyes, and for a moment Claire thought he would brush her off. But instead, he closed his laptop halfway, studying her face with gentle curiosity. "You can sit," he said calmly, "but only if I pay for your breakfast." Claire froze. "Oh, no, I just need a seat. I'm fine with my coffee." He smiled, but it wasn't condescending. It was warm. "Consider it a deal. You let me enjoy 15 minutes of company, and breakfast is on me." She laughed despite herself. "That's a strange deal. I like strange deals," he said. "I'm Ethan." "Claire," she whispered, feeling oddly shy. Moments later, the waitress returned with a plate of pancakes, eggs, toast, far more than she ever allowed herself to order. Claire tried to protest, but Ethan simply waved it off like it was nothing. They ate in a comfortable silence, the kind of silence that felt safe, not awkward. Eventually, Ethan spoke. "Long morning." Claire bit her lip. "Long year." Something about his expression made her continue. She told him about her daughter, Lily, about the bills stacked on her kitchen table, about the loneliness that sometimes pressed against her ribs. She didn't mean to say so much, but something about Ethan made her feel heard. Truly heard. And he didn't interrupt, didn't judge, didn't offer empty advice. He just listened with a softness she wasn't used to. When she apologized for rambling, he shook his head gently. "Maybe people don't give you space to talk," he said. "But you deserve it." Her eyes warmed with a feeling she hadn't felt in months, validation. She asked about him then, assuming he was some businessman or lawyer. Ethan shrugged. "I run a company." "What kind?" "Technology," he answered, vague in a way that made her think there was more to the story. They talked about small things, funny things, sad things, things two strangers don't usually share. He told her about his lonely penthouse, the weight of leadership, the pressure of being successful but never truly satisfied. "Everyone thinks having money means having peace," he said quietly. "But peace is the one thing I can't seem to buy." Claire understood more than she expected to. Their worlds couldn't be more different, but their loneliness sounded the same. When Ethan's phone buzzed repeatedly, Claire told him he could answer it. "I don't want to," he admitted. "Not right now, but eventually." Duty dragged him away. He answered with a businesslike tone that made him seem like a different person, colder, sharper. When the call ended, Claire knew their moment was over. She stood, pulling her bag over her shoulder. "Thank you for breakfast, Ethan." "Really?" He stood too. "Claire," she smiled sadly. "Maybe we'll run into each other again." He didn't know what to say, and she didn't know what she hoped for, so she simply left. Ethan stared at her empty seat long after she was gone. The cafe felt colder, his coffee tasted bitter, and work felt suddenly meaningless. He told himself it was silly, she was just a stranger, but her voice lingered in his mind. At the office, chaos awaited him, meetings, decisions, numbers. But he canceled everything. "Sir, are you feeling well?" his assistant asked. "Cancel the board meeting," he repeated. People whispered. Ethan Caldwell never canceled meetings. But something in him had shifted. All day, he kept replaying her words, her smile, her strength. And he realized something shocking. He didn't even know her last name. For the next 2 days, Claire tried to forget him. She woke early, made Lily's school lunch, walked her to school, clocked in at the grocery store, smiled at customers even when exhaustion pulled at her face. She kept telling herself that people like Ethan didn't belong in her life. But loneliness made her remember the warmth of his voice. Meanwhile, Ethan searched for her. Not in a creepy way. He just asked around, visited nearby grocery stores, hoping luck would help him find the woman who made him feel human. On the third evening, Claire walked out of work with Lily beside her when a black car pulled up. Her heart raced when the window lowered and Ethan leaned out with a shy smile. "Found you," he whispered. She stared. "You looked for me." "For 2 days," he confessed. "You mentioned you worked at a grocery store, so I checked a few until I found the right one." Claire felt her knees weaken. "Why?" Ethan stepped out of the car, hands in pockets, vulnerable in a way she never expected from a man like him. "Because what happened at that cafe wasn't a coincidence. Conversations like that don't happen every day. And I didn't want it to end." She swallowed, stunned and touched. "Ethan, I'm just a cashier, and I'm just a man," he interrupted softly. "A man who wants to know you." Then Lily peeked out from behind Claire, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Mommy, is he the man who bought you pancakes?" Claire blushed. Ethan knelt down, smiling warmly. "Hi, Lily, I'm Ethan. It's nice to meet you." Claire watched, amazed at how natural he was with her daughter. "I'd like to take you both to dinner," Ethan said, standing again. "Not charity. Just company, if you want." Claire's voice trembled. "I don't want to be someone you pity." Ethan's eyes softened with heartfelt sincerity. "Claire, I respect you. I admire you. You're stronger than most people I know." No one had said that to her in years. Maybe ever. Slowly, she nodded. "Okay." Dinner became weekly dinners. Weekly dinners became Saturday picnics. Picnics became evenings spent talking about everything. Dreams, fears, memories they never thought to share. Ethan never acted like a savior. He never tried to fix her life. He just showed up. He laughed with Lily, listened to Claire, brought small joys into their world without taking over. Claire never treated him like a billionaire. She treated him like Ethan, the man who listened to her like she was the most important voice in the room. As months passed, they fell into a quiet rhythm, a gentle trust that felt like sunlight after a long winter. One morning, they returned to the same cafe where they'd first met. Claire reached across the table, touching his hand softly. "Thank you," she said. "For the pancakes," he teased. She shook her head, eyes shining. "For giving me space. For seeing me. For choosing me." Ethan's heart swelled. "You chose me first," he said. "When you asked if you could share this table." She laughed, a warm, teary laugh. "I guess I did." Ethan leaned forward, his voice thick with emotion. "And I'll keep choosing you. Every day." In that crowded cafe, surrounded by strangers and noise and city rush, a single mom and a billionaire understood something simple and profound. Sometimes the smallest courage, a question as simple as, "Can I share this table?" can open the door to the kind of love that changes everything.